driverless cars as the future of cars? I would definitely say yes. I mean, you can kind of already see the trend right now. For example, a lot of new cars are already incorporating the self-driving function. And also a lot of big tech companies and car companies are putting their money and effort into these driverless car technology thingy. So I could definitely see it happening in the future. And I mean, people have been envisioning this for decades, if not centuries, and I'm sure that people would make it work. But don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that it's gonna happen within the next 5 years. I don't even think it's gonna happen within my lifetime. But I'm just saying that I could definitely see that this is the future of cars. Why do people wear formal clothes? I guess one big reason could be that some people just appreciate this style of clothing. I mean, I've seen people who would wear formal clothes to not so formal places like a restaurant or whatnot. So I guess these people just enjoy this style for whatever reason. But I guess an even bigger reason would be that they are wearing these formal clothes for a formal event. For example, they might be attending like a job meeting, a seminar, or somewhere that have a dress code. So yeah, these are the two reasons that I could think of. Is it easier for people to be popular nowadays? I would definitely say yes. For example, nowadays it's really not uncommon for people around us to have thousands, if not tens of thousands of followers on social media. But in comparison, in the past, if you want to become popular, you really need to have connection, you need to have the talent, you need to have the personality. You gotta have the whole package in order to become popular. So yeah, I would definitely say it's easier. And I guess the biggest contributor to it would be social media. Social media really gives people, almost everybody, the chance to become popular. And also people have more of a desire to showcase their life. So in general, there's just a bigger chance for people to become popular nowadays comparing to the past. What are the differences between famous people in the past and those nowadays? I guess the biggest difference would be their impact on the world. I mean, in the past, rarely do we see famous people having this type of global impact, but nowadays it's really common for us to see, for example, a famous person from America to have a huge influence on other parts of the world as well. On top of that, the way famous people influence others is also very different. For example, in the past, famous people tend to influence others through their work, whether if it's a movie or a book or a song or whatnot. But nowadays, these famous people have a chance to show us what they are like on a more personal level thanks to social media. Speaking of social media, the third biggest difference that I could think of is that nowadays we have a new type of famous people, which is influencers. That's really not a thing in the past, so that's a pretty big difference as well. So yeah. What benefit can people get if they are self-centered? Well, before presenting my own answer, I do want to explain that in this context, self-centered doesn't really mean selfish. It's more of a prioritizing your own needs. It means that you take care of yourself before you take care of others. It's nothing really negative. But anyways, if I were to answer this question, I would say that the most straightforward benefit would be that you would set clear boundaries. What I mean is that when you focus on yourself more, you tend to not get affected by other people's emotions and their own stuff. So consequently, you would probably do things in a more effective way. On top of that, I guess this is also a result of the previous benefits. People would have better mental health if they are more self-centered. For example, if you don't care what other people would think of you, or if you don't really get affected by others, they won't really take a toll on your own mental health. You would definitely get a better grip of your own emotions. Do you think wind has any effect on pollution? Well, most definitely yes. Wind is really a double-edged sword when it comes to pollution. On one hand, wind could bring in the pollutants from other places into a city. Like, it's really not unheard of that a toxic fume, sandstorm, or smog would be brought into a city through wind. And also, on the other hand, wind could help thin out pollution. For example, in Beijing, the capital city of China, there was a sandstorm a few months ago, but it eventually cleared out also thanks to wind. So I feel like wind has both positive and negative effects on pollution. Do you think that only scientists could invent new things? I definitely wouldn't say so. I mean, I feel like a lot of the inventions that we see and use nowadays are probably invented by experts in that specific realm. For example, paintbrushes and paints are probably invented by painters, and like chefs and cooks, they would invent new dishes, new cooking methods, and new cooking utensils to suit their own needs. And I wouldn't really necessarily call these people scientists. I feel like they're just experts who are really good at their own area of expertise. But don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to discredit scientists. I'm sure most of the inventions that we use nowadays are still invented by scientists, but I'm just trying to say that they're not the only people who can invent things. So, yeah.